Say hello to everybody and welcome to today's webinar. And today we're all about building your dream customer. So rather than having to chase customers down, wouldn't it be lovely if they chased you instead? What if you could create a design specification, a perfect blueprint that would allow you to build the perfect customer for your product or service, for your business? Now, I don't know all of you. I know some of you, and I don't know all of you. So I don't know what exactly pulled you into this webinar today or where you're at personally with your business right now. But if you've ever been in this situation where you're left wondering, where the heck are you going to find customers or clients for your business? Then you're in the right place, because that's the focus of our conversation today. And if you've ever felt like you've been chasing and chasing and chasing and getting absolutely nowhere, and you're at the end of the rope and feeling extremely frustrated, hang in there. You're in the right place. Now, for all of the rest of you who are just interested in working smarter instead of harder, then you too are welcome, because the whole point is to work smarter and have customers chasing you rather than you having to chase them. And by the time we're finished with this web session, you're going to have the beginning framework of your ideal customer, or at least the steps to take to build one. Now, I follow a 3-step process. It's pretty simple. I like to keep things simple. I have a lot going on, so I usually like to keep things pretty easy to follow, pretty easy to replicate. My name is Janice Summers, and I'm going to be your guide today during this training. I have spent my entire career in some form of salesmanship role, and that's my entire professional career before I ever launched my company. And I've been involved with everything from products to people to services. And I've had a varied, rich experience and a very interesting exposure to a lot of different things before I ever launched my company. And it taught me a great deal. And I was very glad to have that experience before I stepped into the role of being a solopreneur. But even with all of the experience that I had amassed, all of the degrees, the education, the certifications, I was just like everybody else. I was at square one. Heck, you could even say I was at square zero, since I had nothing and no one when I launched my company. I had a product that I actually made, and the rest was left to me. I had to figure it all out. How to get customers, how to get my product into customer hands, and then how to have them actually pay me for it. So in sales terms, I was basically not just in a cold market, I was in an ice cold market. I didn't have a warm market to touch. I didn't have, a call list or anything to lean on. But the nice thing about that, though, is that tough times actually make excellent teachers. And if you're in business, either you've gone through tough times or you're going to go through tough times, all I can say is hang in there, learn the lessons, because they're great teachers. One of the things I learned is that I needed to get really clear, crystal clear, about one important key business need, or I was going to fail. And I was going to fail even before I got started. And that thing I needed to be really clear about was who my customer was and how I could attract, engage, and retain them. And that's the 3 things that every business needs to do, is attract, engage, and retain, because the one thing we need is customers. Somehow the bill's got to get paid, and it usually gets paid by us being able to provide a service that somebody finds of value and then giving us money in exchange. Saying, whenever you're going out to go build something, chances are you've got schematics, you've got a drawing, even a sketch or something written on the back of a napkin. You got something that's going to tell you how to put the pieces together. Oftentimes, if you're lucky, you're going to get the bill of materials, and if you're even luckier, you've got a whole kit that you've purchased. Now, I don't know about you, but when I started my business, there was no kit. There were no schematics, there were no sets of instructions, and I had to piece it all together and to learn what fit where. Now, through diligence and research, you can draw it out. You can actually create your own sketch. It's kind of nice. It's a little liberating. but there really is no out-of-the-box solution. Now, in the network marketing or home-based business model, that offers some out-of-the-box solution. But I can tell you, I've got a lot of friends that are MLM business builders, and they get a lot of stuff, but they don't get everything. You think they get everything, but they don't. They kind of it's like going to the IKEA store. And I personally have been in a couple of these business models in my life. And it's pretty cool what you do get. You get, a good portion out of the box, right? They give you the products, they give you forms, instructions. There's even some focused training. They usually have big events. There's some motivated people that might help you a little bit. There's some marketing content. So there's a lot of stuff that you can tap into, but it's not everything. It's kind of like going to IKEA and buying that piece of furniture. You might get that box, but you got to open up that box. You're going to have to put it together yourself, and you're going to have to figure out the cryptic instructions and hope you get it right, and that when it's assembled, it's going to look like it did at the store. And the most important piece that you think that it's going to be there is still missing. But after all, that's the purpose of why they need you. Because if they had all of the customers they already needed, they wouldn't need you. So that's kind of one of the benefits. You're going to still need to figure out what all the rest of us need to figure out, what every single business out there needs to figure out, what I had to figure out over a decade ago when I launched my first company. It is the great equalizer for all businesses in every model out there, from inventor creator to lenders and leasers to manufacturers and ultimately to sellers, which is the majority of businesses. You got stuff, but who the heck is going to buy your stuff? And it doesn't matter if you've got the best stuff in the world or if you have the crappiest stuff. You're still going to have to find people to buy it. It doesn't matter if you've got the rarest and most precious, unduplicated treasure that could ever be imagined, or something as common as water. It's not going to sell itself. Nothing ever sells itself. You're going to need to get paying customers. So who the heck are you going to get to buy? Now, you can spend a lot of time and a lot of money at this, and you can go chasing. You can even spend a lot of time and money trying to avoid this, but eventually you're going to need to sell. But before you go spinning out of bounds of reason and making yourself crazy, before you start making that short list and long list of names and friends and family and distant relations, and before you go running ads to the general audience, just stop, take a breath, and imagine how you would feel if you had customers actually chasing you to get your product or service. What would it feel like for you to have the exact blueprint of your ideal customer so that everything you said, everything you did, pulled them to you? What would that be worth to you? So by the time we're done today, you will have the resources and the knowledge of how to build it for yourself. Better yet, how to replicate that building for yourself over and over again, as many times as you need to. You're going to have the ability to create a solid, foundational, replicatable customer profile that's going to allow you to magnetically pull customers to you so they can't help be attracted to you. So first off, before I go off too far, I want to talk about what is a customer profile, because this might seem foreign to some people. Maybe you've never been around or in a situation where people have talked in terms of sales and marketing, so you don't know. You might have heard the phrase target market or ideal customer or who do you serve or even the target audience or a lot of variations of those things. But beyond that term, you might not really know what it means. And you might be even one of those who is left scratching your head saying, yeah, but who is that? I was fortunate enough when I was a child that I got very close to my grandparents, and on both sides, on my mother's and my father's side. And one set of my grandparents came from the South. And they had very strong Southern roots, and they had very strong Southern mannerisms and accents, and the way they spoke was very Southern. So they had, slang terms and casual terms that would be common in the South. And they had a phrase that was fairly generic, and it required additional context in order to get the real meaning. And my grandmother was notorious for using it, and she would often tell us to go out yonder and fetch whatever it was. I mean, you fill in the blank. It could have been any number of things, from plants to flour to anything, the mail. And as children, we would all go running off. We'd scatter because she said, go out yonder and fetch. So we'd go scattered. One year, it finally dawned on us when we were kids. We turned to our grandmother and we asked her, but Grandma, where's out yonder? Now, had we not taken the time until that time, we were chasing. We were just running off trying to guess where yonder would be to find whatever it is she needed. But we took the time to ask where specifically she wanted us to go look so that we could save our time and effort to get to the right destination. So the dictionary definition of what the target market is the defined section of the population that's going to have a keen interest in your product or service. Now, even that to me seems a little bit coded. I don't know for you, maybe that makes all the sense in the world and all the light bulbs went off. But what we're going to do is we're going to crack that code, and we're going to make it real, and we're going to make it practical. So we're going to dig in, and we're going to learn how we can work smarter and not go running out yonder aimlessly trying to get customers. So in order to do this, I'm going to take some creative license, and I'm actually going to run a hypothetical scenario. So we're going to create a pretend scenario for us to use as our template. Now, when I work with my clients, I will tell you, when I go through this training with them one-on-one, I am very exact and to the point. And we look very real time at their specific scenarios so that we can customize and custom build. But I don't know all of you personally. I don't know all of your situations. I don't know all of your products or services. And we're not in a private session. So we're going to make up something that at least will give you the ability to read the hieroglyphs and understand the principles and practices so that you can then take this and apply it to your everyday, to your situation. I want to be able to give you enough so that you can replicate it for yourself and personalize it. So when you're creating the customer profile, you can lead from two distinct prospects. Through perspectives. Sorry, my tongue's tied. You can lead from the product or you can lead from the need. Leading from the product is kind of a top-down approach, and it focuses first on the specific product at hand, which is okay because following this process, you'll see where the product takes a different role as we advance forward. Going from the need means that we're going to focus on driving a need to find a solution. So think in terms of a person with an ailment or an affliction that's looking for a solution, or an inventor who is looking at something that everybody does or a practice or a product and is thinking of a better way to build that mousetrap. Like recently I've been seeing this really cool umbrella, and on the internet, and I mean, who would have thought that the umbrella could have been reinvented? But evidently somebody thought of a really cool new design. So even that. So we don't have time to work out every scenario right now. We're going to actually focus on leading with product first. Okay. And to lead with product, I thought I would go with an example of something I have personally no experience with. So if any of you have been in this type of business, I didn't write it about you, but I just went with something that I really don't have any personal experience with. So the process that we're going to follow, we want to make sure that it's going to test and be solid and be applicable to a lot of different scenarios. So I wanted something that's easily replicated. Okay, so step one is define the product and service or service. So I want you to focus on one only. Now, you might be in a lot of different things, but let's just focus on one only. And the first step is always answering questions and answering them in your own words. I'm going to stress this. Recently, I was working with a client of mine who managed to get themselves worked up into the point where they were just ready to walk away. Now, in my conversations with them, it was easy to detect that they were just really frustrated. They had worked really hard on putting something together, a campaign together, and it wasn't coming up with the results that they had hoped. And they were feeling a bit deflated. Now, my personal coaching style, I am a coach of action. And for me, I always find it's more important to pull the strengths of my clients forward so that they can be more confident in their natural abilities. And that's what people hire me for. Not to make them a cookie cutter replica or to teach them how to repeat a script that somebody else wrote, but how to take advantage of who they are, what they're about, and what they're here for, and put that and transition that into the digital world. So one of the things that this particular client had been doing is they had written all this content, and I looked at it and I set it all aside and I asked them to tell me, what is this for? What is this product for? And they gave me the answer in 3 words. 4, actually. And I said, write that down. And they just were stunned because the way that they said it to me was very casual and very natural for them. But I heard them completely and I felt their sincerity. So they changed that, and they changed the image and some other marketing content that they had created, and they just said it the way that they normally would talk to somebody. Not trying to put on something or try to be somebody that they weren't. They went to their authentic, true self. Now, the nice thing was, because they put things in their own words and how they normally talk, and they put it out there, their audience, the reaction from their audience was immediate and resoundingly positive. It was like night and day. But the best part about all of this is that particular client had so much confidence in what they had said because they felt it and they knew it. And believe me, folks, when you put things in your words and you talk to your tribe, they feel you and they know you, even though it's in a digital world. So shift through all the information and condense things down into your own words and keep it simple. Don't make it overly complicated. So now, to have a bit of fun, let's just pretend that I am this home-based business owner that signed up to be a distributor, right, for this water filtration company. And this water filtration company is pretty simple. It's only got 2 filters, one that's portable and one that's at home. And the portable one is so petite and lightweight, it'll fit in a pocket, and it's really easy to use. And the creators designed this product, created it because they wanted clean drinking water for areas that were adversely affected by natural disasters or by horrible industrial incidents. And we've all seen these things actually occur. So, and then using this unique filter, you can create drinkable water for just about any source. They have a unique patented cold filtration system. And what it really does, what it all condenses down to, is it provides clean, safe drinking water. So we've kept things really simple. So, and you don't have to know it all. You don't have to know all the details about how the filter was made. And maybe if you have that kind of customer base, maybe they will want to know all the scientific details. Now, before you get all excited thinking I made this way too easy, because who doesn't like clean water, right? So I made this way too easy to create a customer profile. Let's think about that for a minute. It's kind of like, the shakes and the diet pills and all that other stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to lose a few pounds? I've been on seminars where people have said, "Oh, who wants to lose weight?" I mean, well, that's kind of a silly question. Who doesn't? But let's think about this for a minute, because our task in creating this customer profile, in pulling and attracting, magnetizing people to us, in order to have power, we've got to focus, right? We want a dense magnetic power to pull people in. That means we have to have laser focus on our ideal customer, not a customer who wants to drink water. Right. One of the articles I recently read, it was either Inc. magazine or it might have been Fortune. I forget. It was one of the two of them. Maybe it was Fortune. But anyways, I was looking at, the trends for 2017 in businesses overall. And one of the trends that really caught my eye and caught my attention, of course, was the growing trend and the significant importance in the trend of niching your market. All that means is having laser focus on defining a clear section of the market space that you're there to serve. So those are your unique clients, right? Everybody drinks water, but you want to find your customers, your clients that drink water. And when you've done this creation of this customer profile, we want to create that magnet so strong that they're pulled to it, and they're actually asking you for the solution of clean, drinkable water without you ever even having to, quote unquote, sell them on anything. You just can't do that if you're trying to serve everybody. And if you're trying to ping, ping, ping all over the place and take a shotgun approach and just going off a list of random people in your friends and family. There's a term in business that's called dilution of resources. What that means is you've spread yourself so thin that you're no longer effective. That trying to be everything for everybody, or trying to just get everybody, like in this example, anybody who drinks water, it actually makes you weaker. Like watered down coffee. It's coffee still technically, but who wants to drink watered down coffee? It doesn't have the power that a real rich, strong coffee has. Now, and I'm not saying, again, that you only have to rep one product or do one thing. I think diversification is good. But the whole art of diversifying your business is another topic for another time, and it's another training altogether. I think all of my customers that I work with, and me included, we have a diverse revenue stream, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for the purposes today, we're going to talk about a solid foundation on one thing. So we're going to focus one product at a time. Now imagine yourself in this scenario. And at first you might be thinking, say you're that person who just signed on to this water filter company, and you're thinking, hey, this is fantastic. Who wouldn't want to drink clean water? I have a list of people a mile long that like to drink water. I myself drink water. My family drinks water. Everybody I know drinks water. But before you pick up the phone to call Auntie Ethel, and before you blast that social media message to the world, I want you to stop. This is really actually where the fun begins and the magic starts to happen. This is one of the foundation pieces that helps you to create that foundation sustainable business over the long term. So say this filtration company changes, or say you change the company that you're repping. The tactic that we're talking about is going to allow you to create such a strong foundation in your business that you won't skip a beat even if you change the product. And I don't want you to miss out on creating that foundation by getting caught in a waterfall of high action that's going to net you little to no results. Just randomly calling a bunch of people and hitting people up that drink water is not going to get you any long-term results. And in fact, it might get you a couple of signups. I can tell you that I have done the sympathy sign up before, right? I mean, I happen to like the coffee. I still drink the coffee, but it was kind of a sympathy sign up. I had no intention beyond that. So I want you to be able to just take advantage of creating this really good foundation. After all, you're in business for the long haul, right? I mean, otherwise, why bother? Because Business requires work, and you're going to be spending a lot of time involved with your business. So why not do it for the long haul rather than the short term? So now the product can take the back seat, right? We've got all that information and we've jotted down all the details and the particulars that are of interest to us, and we've done it in our own words and we understand it. We've integrated that. Now it's going to take the back seat for the moment, and you are going to take the center stage. I know it sounds a little foreign for people. They think, no, now I've got that. I got to go get customers. No, wait, I want you to be in the center stage right now. It's time to answer those questions of who you are, what you're about, what your purpose is. Why are you here? It's the why of you. Now, if you've worked with me in the past, then you should be able to breeze right through these questions. You probably have it all written down, or you know it's so ingrained in you that you can call on it immediately. If you haven't and you don't know the answers to these questions, don't worry. I actually have a self-paced workshop that I designed, so you don't have to work with me one-on-one. It's much cheaper if you can do the self-paced workshop than to have private sessions with me. So I designed this so that you can get these answers, because to me, there is nothing more important than a solid foundation. Now, I've been in business, I'm tenured now as an independent business owner, self-funded. And having a foundation, there is nothing more important, because you can pivot and you can handle any storm as long as you've got that under you. So if you stay with me to the end, I'll make sure that you get those links so that you can take advantage of that. But for now, we're going to focus on our hypothetical person. So for reference purposes, I kind of jotted down a rough sketch level of a couple of bios. I mean, it's kind of shallow, but I just wanted to show a couple of examples of people who drink water. So say one of them who signed up with this company is a stay-at-home mother of 3, right? She has children that are in grade school and middle school. She's a very busy person. She's a home-based business owner. She likes to volunteer. Of course, she volunteers for the school. She volunteers for the sports programs that the kids are involved in. She volunteers for her church. She has a lot of time giving of herself to the community at large. Her special interests personally are in crafts, health, and of course, nutrition. She's very focused on raising healthy, well-nourished children. Now, on the other side, we've got this outdoor weekend warrior adventurer. No kids, very active, sports, high on sports, works out all the time, skis in the winter, hikes in the summers. They're a full-time employee. They also have a network marketing business that they own. So they tend to live life on the go, and they like to pack light. So you can kind of see from this perspective, these are pretty realistic scenarios of some people that you might run into. And these are people that could actually do the same thing, sign up to represent a creative distribution channel for this filter company. They both drink water. They both value clean water, but their life and their styles are going to be very different. It's easy to see. They would be friendly with each other, and they might support each other, especially in social media. You find a broad, diverse group that actually supports each other in social media, but the passions that fill their time are going to be very different. The gravitational pull of interest and intrigue for what's going to feed their soul is going to be a little different. And the passions and the interests and desires are what drive us. It's true for you, it's true for me, and it's certainly going to be true for your customers. So you want to keep that in mind as we take the next step. We're already on step 2. We're just swimming through this. Now, step 2 is defining the perfect customer for you. Who would you like to hang out with? Stop thinking about everybody who drinks water. You drink water. Now I want you to turn that focus on yourself and think about you. Now, we've all heard the phrase, or maybe you haven't, there's 2 types of people in the world, those who like X and those who like Y. I don't know, maybe you have or you haven't. But the truth is we all like to select, and we all like to socialize with groups. We really do. We have a social drive, but we can't socialize with everybody. So we like to gravitate towards those that we have a familiarity with, people that we feel comfortable with. You know, we don't all share the same political views. We're not all the same in a lot of things. We're all wired a little bit different. We do share a great deal of things, but that unique wiring makes us a little different. So it shapes our personality and perspectives a little bit differently. So think about yourself and who you would want to work with as you work through these questions. What gets these people's attention the most? I mean, are you more like the outdoor adventurer, or are you the mom with kids? I mean, that's an important thing and a big distinction. So that drive for social connection is what's going to create that polar pull and that push. We'll look to those who are similar to us and those we can relate to. And then we tend to pass by the ones who we don't. It's not that we are dismissive to them. It's just I can't, you know, unless you have children and have been through that, it's hard to really resonate and understand all of their daily struggles, right? So, you know, there's one thing I can tell you personally, I have found in my personal experience, I've never met someone who's neutral on Brussels sprouts. I have found either people love them or people hate them. Brussels sprouts are a polarizing vegetable, I think even more than broccoli. Broccoli, you can put cheese on it for people who don't like broccoli, but Brussels sprouts, unless you like them, there's no hope. So now you've created your ideal customer and you're clear about who that customer is. Now you'll know how to serve them, because clarity gives you insight as to what is going to be important for them. Now that you've got that drawing or the sketch, you can define the key attributes that they're going to value the most. So yeah, if you can't guess, we're going to actually reshift the focus again. And that focus is going to move. And from now on, you and your product are going to take a back seat together. You're not driving the car anymore. Somebody else is at the wheel. And that's step 3. Step 3, you're going to define the solution by creating a short list. Now, I like to have at least 3, 7, no more than 7. If you get more than 7, you're getting too many. And you're going to create a short list of the benefits that would help this person. So again, the person is first. What would help them experience more joy? What would help them reach a desired objective? What's going to help them excel in their life, help pull them forward? These are the things that you're going to need to apply to your product or service. That's when you shift and you understand that you're actually providing a solution to a need. And this is a trick that most people don't know. And the true ninja secret about sales is you're not selling anything. You're providing a solution. You're never to somebody's needs. That's really the trick and the key, especially as an entrepreneur. Now, and from now on, the customer does drive, and you're going to put their needs and their desires and their interests in the front from now going forward. From here, now it's time to create and curate value-rich content, which is what your blog should be about, what all your social media should be about. And if you've ever taken training from me before, I like social media, and it's great to be on all the social media channels, and digital real estate is key. I think you should have your little flag thing you can ever own is your URL. Your domain is the only thing you ever own in the digital world. So everything should drive to your website. And in your website is the world that you create for these people. You're going to create content and you're going to curate content that is going to be of special interest and meet the needs of that ideal customer. So when you pair the needs with the solutions, again, you've got that magnetic pull. The key thing in creating and curating content is be consistent. Develop a marketing plan that you can be consistent with. There's people who say you have to blog every day. There's people that say you have to tweet 5 times a day. There's people that say a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you the overriding thing is create something that you can do consistently. Because if you try to be over aggressive in your desire to do everything, again, remember the term dilution of resources. You've only got so many hours. And a lot of times people are building their businesses and their solo businesses on a part-time basis. They have a regular job or they have a family that's full-time. So they have all of these other competing needs and they need to be able to build their business in cracks of time. I personally am a firm believer in creating original content, again, written in your own voice. I don't need someone to parrot me somebody else's thing. I don't need someone to parrot me somebody else's life story and claim it as their own. If I want that life story, I'll go over there and listen to it. What I want to hear is your voice. You're in business and your voice matters. It really does. Remember the example we talked about earlier with my customer. Hearing their voice made such a difference for so many people. Now, a couple of ideas that you can use, especially if you're pressed for time or you're really not sure. One of the things that you can do is read other people's stuff, read other people's posts, read articles in magazines. If you're talking to runners, read Runners Magazine. Then talk about an article that you read, reference that article, link back to that article. But remember personally, right? If you read a story about, Flint drinking water being polluted by the factories, you can reference somebody else writing an expose on it, but talk about your personal aspects of it, because that's really what people are more interested in, your perspective. Just keep things positive. And if you can also research a topic, like find a hot topic and do some research and write a research type paper. You don't have to write lengthy blogs. There's people out there saying you got to write really long blogs. To me personally, and I've asked people, they prefer short and to the point. So I like to try and keep my blogs between 300 to 600 words. You do not have to be the expert. And in fact, most people, truthfully, would rather not engage with a know-it-all. Most people would rather engage with somebody who's like them. Maybe you know a little bit more, but they'd rather engage with somebody who's just like you, not the techspert expert. Be authentic, be real, get to the point, and provide content that's going to serve your audience. Just remember, think of yourself in terms of a curator. And always remember to speak to your tribe. So back to our example when we were talking about the water filtration. Now, here's two different scenarios. One's the stay-at-home mom with the kids, and one is the outdoor adventurer. And just looking at the images, can you tell which column belongs to which? It's because I'm also using images to speak to my audience. So if you've taken any of my branding webinars, we talk about branding and using multiple mediums to repeat your branded message over and over again. So if you look at the titles, you can see how these would speak to that specific audience. Like, the top 3 things you can do to keep you and your family healthy this cold and flu season. That's going to speak to, moms out there or dads out there who are trying to take care of their family and keep them healthy, right? The best healthy drink to serve your family. I bet you it's going to be water. I bet you it's going to be clean filtered water. And then what can a lump of coal do for you and your family? Well, okay, that ties back to the product, but it's not selling the product in their face, right? it's a solution, right? If you need a filter that has coal in it, I happen to have the solution. But the fact that coal can actually, activated charcoal actually does filter things. And explaining that whole thing to people would be important. And on the other side of that, we've got, hey, here are the 10 remote hikes you must do this summer. You've curated some content from several places, some parks, and you're going to reference them in this article. You're going to actually also have something on, hey, what to pack in your gear bag. So the top gear, and of course, packing a filter to filter water. If you had a filter where they could drink pond water, and I'm a hiker and it's lightweight and can fit in my pocket, yeah, I want to put that in my pack. I'd be really interested in that. And telling them how charcoal can save their life while they're out in the remote reaches of some isolated area. Pretty important for them. So now you're seeing how you're creating rich content. Yes, you still are offering a product, but you're offering a solution. You're not selling to people. You're actually offering a solution. Okay, so I am actually at the end, and I feel a little blind, but I just kind of wanted to go through these really quick with you. I'm going to flip over to my other screen, but I'll put up a recording of this later so you can refer to it again. If any of you on this webinar want a cheat sheet, a worksheet on how to create the customer profile, just ping me or give a shout out, and I'll make sure that I get that email to you in the next day or so. But if you've never created your unshakable vision, there's a workshop that I created where you can actually go through the steps to create that clear, defined vision for yourself. And then a rock solid foundation. Again, I believe firmly in creating a solid foundation for your business so that you can pivot and change. Products come and go. Services come and go. You don't, and you don't want to. You want to stay in business over the long haul. So I actually have a 2-part series on creating that rock solid foundation. Another thing I like to offer people is 15 minutes free. You actually really can get 15-minute free coaching session with me if you use that link and reserve a space and time. We'll talk about you and focus on what your needs are. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in and giving some time to listen to me. I do believe that with the right kind of support and the right kind of training, there really is no limit to what you can achieve.